the Honorable Frankie Campbell, member of the Honorable House of Assembly and the Cabinet Minister of Social Services and Urban Development, Permanent Secretary Phaedra Raming, Dr. Jacinta Higgs, Director of Gender and Family Affairs, and I do wish to mention some of our women leaders who are very much involved with this initiative. Ms. Coralie Adderley, Chairman for National Women's Advisory Council, Ms. Charlene Paul, President of CVIL, Mrs. Marissa Mason-Smith, President of Zonta Club, Minister Brenda Harris-Pinder, President of Women United in Prayer. All women leaders, women and girls throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas and the diaspora. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I wish to thank God and the leadership of the Department of Social Services and Urban Development and that of the Bahamas Christian Council for affording me the opportunity to share with you today. Our theme, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. It is an understatement to say that women do not experience equal treatment as men. COVID-19 has brought illumination and a clearer picture of the disparities. We are now able to see the need for us as women to play a major role in bringing parity and equity so that our needs and those of our families, communities, and the nation can be met. As we forge ahead with COVID-19, which has changed our way of life and brought the needs for national development of ourselves and our people to the center stage, we as women must make a conscious effort to allow ourselves to be intentional and purposeful with getting into the presence of God. We have come for such a time as this, a time of COVID, a time of pandemic, when we are now made to live and run things in a totally different way from what we as human beings have been accustomed to. Women from time immemorial have been the stabilizing force and the pillars of the cultural influences upon which much of the world stands. Many scholars in world history reminds us that in many countries, men had to leave families and go off to war, to work in mines, to work on ships and other places away from home. This they did, leaving their women to ensure that leadership and survival took place. For the Bahamas, many of our men and women too, in some cases, traveled to the United States to work farms. We refer to it today as gone on the contract. This meant as the men in our countries were gone, and in particular from the Bahamas, the women were left to pray, farm, teach, nurse, improvise, strategize, implement, analyze, organize, discipline, and supervise, and make good of whatever little resources they had to ensure that productivity and survival took place, not only for themselves and their children, but for family members, friends, and neighbors. They had courage and stood up wherever and whenever the need arose. Because of the strength and courage of our Bahamian women, and in particular those of the suffrage movement, the door was open for women and men to be given the one person, one vote, and for us as women to slowly begin our official trek of leadership in education, government, the judiciary, and healthcare. History reflects that globally many hospitals, institutional homes, educational entities were started and developed by women who in the absence of the men had to ensure that teaching, learning, and survival took place. Some countries show that women had to also pick up arms and fight to defend themselves, their families, and communities. As we take a closer look, we must admit that despite the work and accomplishments of women, stereotyping and biases have brought us to take on the spirit of self-contempt, telling ourselves that we and our sisters are not able or competent to be people of authority in the areas of cultural influences. Hence, as one writer puts it, we were not legitimized to be people of power, and legitimacy went to the men. As a result, many of us have convinced ourselves that we, neither our sisters, are capable or have the capacity to lead in the church. Government, education, business, the media, arts, and entertainment. We ourselves have bought into the lie that we must sleep with our sister's husband to survive. We have bought into the lies that we must sleep with the boss for that promotion. We have bought into the lies that it is the name brand clothes and material goods that make us somebody of worth. In many cases, we still allow the spirit of classism, elitism, and politics to divide us. We have come to see ourselves as only receivers and that we are not givers or producers. As women, we are told that we are not capable of caring for and raising our children. As a result, many mothers, in the absence of the men, have abdicated their responsibilities and relinquished their authority, and some homes are being run by minor children. Women are told that they need a man in the home to raise their sons. God designed the husband and wife to lead in that assignment. We thank God for those fathers who are playing a positive role in the life of the children, but for various reasons, there may not be a husband there. Know that God would not abandon us and our homes unless we reject him or fail to worship him. We have convinced ourselves that we are inefficient and that we lack proficiency for leadership. Is there no wonder many of our children are drifting throughout the nation and with no sense of leadership or direction? While it is important for the father to be in place, women, we must not see ourselves as helpless, defenseless, incompetent, whose only recourse is to bring a man in. The story of the day is that we are bringing just any man in the midst of our children. Is there no wonder so many of our children are being robbed of their innocence, and the country and the world is in moral decay? As we go into the book of Esther, we take a view of a beautiful young girl, Esther. She did not have parents, but she had a cousin. She did not have parents, but she had her beauty. She did not have parents, but she was humble. She did not have parents, but she had the spirit of obedience. She did not have parents, but she had courage. She did not have parents, but she had her God, and she knew him and trusted in him. When she was informed that her people and herself were in danger, she sent instructions for a 3-day fast for all the people, and decided that though her life would be on the line, that she would approach the king. If I perish, but I will go to the king. There was a plan by the enemy to destroy her people, and approaching her husband, who was the king, could have been fatal. But she decided that she would see the king, not the prime minister, not the president of some other country, but the King of Kings, Jesus Christ, who gave himself up for us. How many of us will answer that call? As women leaders, if we are going to bring advancement and development to our country, if we are going to help our sons and daughters as we navigate through COVID-19, we must recognize the need to let our worship be for real. We must allow God to take preeminence in our lives. We must get our children into worship. We must get devotions back into our homes. We must train our children. We must encourage them. And if we have a man who is the priest in the home, we must be his greatest intercessor. The onslaught of COVID-19 has made economic recovery a major focus for the nations of the world. The health of the world population, and in particular that of the vulnerable groups, which include the women, children, and those with psychological and physical needs, which are important for gender parity. Global authorities are saying that studies being done are revealing that women and children have suffered abuse and violence tremendously more than men during these times of shutdown. This is in addition to the already unequal pay, immigration challenges, unfair promotions, and seniority. We thank God for the men in leadership, but the time has come for us as women to join them. The time has come for us as women to go forth for the development of the nation. It is important that we women seek God as our helper so that we can right some of these wrongs. An article I recently read addressing the needs of women stated that women make up 70% of the workers in the healthcare system. As a result, women are most affected in their bodies. The area calls for more of our females availing themselves of the needed expertise to ensure that some very important needs are met. As we go forth, global authorities are making demands for attention to be given to small and medium-sized businesses because women own most of them. Also, global authorities are telling us that as we move ahead in assisting others, there will be emphasis placed on promoting the work being done by women and much of the unpaid work women have done. Many of our women have given up paid jobs so that they could remain at home to supervise their children. But the silver lining is we will now come together and work together to love our own husbands, to love our children more, and to work with our counterparts in bringing national development. Women leaders, as we seek to join in the development of our people and nation, know, like Esther, we must approach the King of Kings and have no fear doing so. He bid us to come boldly to the throne of grace. And so as we step forth with courage to worship and serve our God, we say to our fathers, to our husbands, to our sons, to our brothers, to our uncles, to our nephews, to our cousins, to our friends, to our neighbors, we do not want to take your identity. We celebrate our femininity. We do not want to emasculate you, nor do we come to demean you, nor do we come like Vashti to disrespect you. We do not come to dehumanize you. We do not come to devalue you. We do not come, glory be to God, to marginalize you. But we come to join alongside you so that we can work to develop our nation in this COVID-19 world. As we go forth, glory be to God, in the future, we want to say we have come with our compassion, with strategies, insight, and the ability to call on our God. In whatever the situation is, we are able to call upon him. In a recent article, it is said by the writer that where there is gender parity, the leadership is healthier, stronger, and more consensual decisions are made. Sisters, let us take a courageous stand by ensuring that we are approaching our King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Let us purpose to be women of integrity and godliness. Let us continue to take our fasting and prayer seriously. Like us, let us advance like Deborah, who was a distinguished judge, wife, homemaker, who became a deliverer of her people when their civic and military systems were weak. God blessed her with the decision-making skills, bringing solutions to many challenges they had. Let us carry the word of God as Huldah, a woman of God with integrity, who had her spiritual gifts, which God used during the time the young King Josiah reigned. God's people were able to get the word. Let us be an Esther, whose beauty and willingness to fast and pray and approach the king, despite the risk, brought deliverance to the people. God used her with her great decision-making skills to bring deliverance. In this changed world, with or without the vaccine, we need God to guide us and direct us. Sisters, let us affirm each other. Let us go forth with our resources. Let us do away with the arrogant, rude, envious, lewd, proud, combative, and abrasive spirits. Oh, glory be to God. We do not let us not sell ourselves out, nor our sisters. Esther did not do it. Esther did not manipulate, undermine, backstab, or discredit her sisters. She went forth in the favor and the grace of God and brought deliverance to our people. As we go forth, let us go forth with grace. We have a great future ahead. As we go forth, women, go forth in power, might, authority, grace, knowing that the favor of God covers us. Go forth. God bless you.